What's up? It's your boy Chuck Wick Ill, aka Charles Brown, back again with another what? Talking facts. You good? Good. All right, man. I tried this last week and we had some technical difficulties. Had to delete the post. So we're going to try it again this week. Topic is or was Nipsey Hussle's death worse than when Tupac and Biggie died? That's the topic that I want to talk about because I'm trying to, in my own mind, I'm trying to go back to the 90s and I'm trying to feel what we felt back in the 90s when we were told Tupac passed and then Biggie passed and then other rappers have been murdered since then and they all hurt. It's all painful because no matter how you feel about their rapping, it's a human life. You know how you see people, these dumbass people online, when a rapper that they think is whack dies or something like that, they be like, well, he was whack anyway. People said that when Tupac died. It was some people saying that. If you didn't like Biggie, it was a whole West Coast, East Coast. It was alive and well, even when these guys died. If you didn't rock with Biggie when he was alive and you was a Pac fan, you was like, some of them was like, good. That is a fact. And some of them, when Pac died, a lot of East Coast dudes was like, well, he had it coming. It was going to happen anyway. Good. It was whack anyway. And it's real crazy because that's how we are as... This culture is kind of crazy, bro. This hip-hop thing, we kind of desensitized. We kind of like really, really bad to each other, bro. Like, beyond all that, man, a dude is dead, bro. That's a family person. He taking care of his family. That's like when Nipsey died, they was like, oh, nah, bring back Nipsey and take insert whoever. Take Kodak or take whatever. And it's funny, but it's really not funny because you wishing death on somebody, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it that you don't like that rapper. You don't like that rapper, but you want to put him in a grave? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And I ain't gonna lie, I see people, it's not many, but it's some people looking at Nipsey like that. I saw a dude right there like, man, I ain't know his music like that anyway. Like, y'all blowing this guy way up too much. Like, he wasn't even like that when he's like, just like negative. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, Nipsey's death was crushing. Just like Pac and Big, it was crushing. So when I was young, I don't know if y'all was there or y'all remember when Pac and Biggie, when they were still alive, you almost heard every other month toward the end of Pac, like his last 2 years, the radio station would break in and say breaking news, something, blah, 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 Tupac, blah, blah, blah. It was always something coming on the radio about Tupac. Tupac arrested on rape charges. Tupac in jail. Breaking. Tupac was shot in front of Quad Studio. Like, all this, like, Tupac was always, the news was always breaking about Tupac. And you always expected him, at first you expected to hear that he was dead. But every time you heard something, it was Tupac this, Tupac, but he never was dead. So you weren't expecting it. When they finally broke the news, they were like, I got some news, yada, yada, yada. Because that's how we got our news back then, and back in the day was the radio. You heard it first on the radio. You ain't had no Twitter, you ain't have no Instagram, nothing. You got your breaking news, and it wasn't on TV either. Your breaking news was the radio. You was playing radio, whatever was on, and then they would break in with whatever, and that's how you got it. So they broke in, was like, this just saying, just like with Nipsey, he was shot. He's in the hospital. Like, nobody knew, for like 30-something minutes, nobody knew if Nipsey was alive or dead. They just was like, he got shot. Same thing with Pac. Tupac has been shot, Las Vegas, yada, yada, yada. He is in critical condition. You heard that from the radio. You start calling everybody, well, you heard that Pac got shot. Da, da. The radio realize it's a big story, so they keep going on and on all day with it, or just updating you. So it really wasn't no other way to get the updates other than the radio and people calling you. Wasn't really no other way. You know what I'm saying? Internet was out, but it wasn't out. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So you're hearing that. You're like the first time, devastating. Devastating. Because he certainly wasn't the first rapper to die, but he was the biggest rapper to die in that way. And Pac was so complicated. He was so complicated. Because I literally remember when he first got shot, and I was at work, and me and my boys was like, man, this dude, man, he always in the middle of some shit, and they get shot again. There it is. You know what I'm saying? We looked at it like this dude was like out here wilding. Like the way we got Pac today, it wasn't how it was back then. It wasn't how it was. When Pac was still alive, before he got murdered, you had different opinions of Pac. It wasn't always this, this highly revered, legendary, godlike figure. It was a dude on the edge, starting shit, wilding, always making something worse than it is. That's how it was. So when Pac went out, you knew he was wilding and it was on its way, but when it actually really came, it was shocking. It was stunning. People didn't want to believe it. That's why to this day they still saying he alive. He in Cuba. He's somewhere else. Because nobody wants to believe it. Nobody wants to believe. Just like with Nipsey. I heard they started a conspiracy. He's alive. That XXX. He's alive. Everybody is alive. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't want to accept that this person is actually a human and they're going to pass away. Now, Biggie, they don't really do the Biggie is alive. You don't really hear that too much. Because I don't think there's no one on earth Biggie could really chill. You know what I'm saying? Pac might hide. Biggie, I don't see him chilling nowhere. So you don't really hear that Biggie is alive, but you do hear that Biggie is almost put up to a godlike status just because of his death. Biggie is put up to a godlike status. Biggie was selling mad records. Biggie was a very big feature, a very big artist. He was well loved and well hated, but he was well loved. Went over to the West Coast, which I never understood that. I didn't understand it. Why they went over there so soon. I to this day, I don't get it. I get it that you want to go get the money, and I get it that you want to show you not scared and you tough and it's no beef. We all good. But it was a beef. And it wasn't all good. And you going over there like that, the way they moving, there's no way Big should have got shot for no reason. They wasn't moving right for him to be the only one to get killed. It shouldn't have happened. That's too lackadaisical. And that's when it happens. When these guys are at their most vulnerable, that's when they get them. So Biggie went over to the West Coast, got murdered. Devastating. That broke through on the radio as well. Devastating. I was with my girl. She's my wife now. She starts crying. You know what I'm saying? So they said on the radio, she immediately starts crying. Biggie has passed away. Da da da. Then he started playing his music. It's horrible. People are just contacting me. Everybody's distraught. Devastated. Devastated. For the next, I want to say, month or whatever, you got all this stuff about who did what and why and all this. It was just convoluted. They had the funeral. It went crazy when they went down through Brooklyn. It was a major thing. Everybody who was anybody was there. Major. The impact will be felt until the end of time, until there is no more earth. These guys, they're going to be talking about these guys 300 years from now. Fact. They will be talking about Biggie and Tupac as long as we are making music, rap music. As long as music is spoken of in history, these guys will be taught. They will teach these guys That is a fact. Now we got Nipsey, who was not, let's be clear, he was not anywhere well as known as these guys. He made a name. He was known, yes. He was well known, very, very popular. But he was not on the status of a Biggie or Tupac. Even at their time of death, they were bigger than Nipsey, is a fact. Not taking none from Nipsey. Nipsey did his thing on a more universal level as far as connected to the people. And that's what I want to talk about. Even though Tupac sold more records than pretty much anybody, and when he died, it hurt the entire world. Everyone who was in the rap, and even a lot of people who weren't, they were just empathetic to this man's passing. But outside of, let's be honest, outside of musically, and Pac said a lot of great things. He said a lot of beautiful things about black people. If you watch some of these interviews with Pac, elegant speaker, very elegant. Even in his most, his even when he's speaking ignorant, it was elegant. And he rarely spoke ignorant. When you just sat down and talked, Pac always spoke real. And I do believe he would have done a lot of stuff had he been able to live another 10, 15, 20 years. It would have been a very different situation. I think Pac died around 25, 27, something like that. Nipsey also died around 33. Plus, Nipsey had the essence of Pac in him. So we can't discount that. But at the time of death with Tupac, it is a fact. I don't know for sure, but I don't know of many organizations that Pac started. I don't know of any buildings or, any low-income housing he's purchased. I don't know of any stores that he bought and renovated and put in people from prison, giving them jobs. I don't know what he did for smart kids in the hood to put STEM programs together, and I don't know what he did. I don't know any of that stuff that he did. But we do know that Nipsey did it. They have a whole tree of what Nipsey touched. Rolling 60 Crip. They have a whole diagram of what Nipsey touched and how many lives he engaged. And give that man another 10 years, you're looking at the state of the state of Los Angeles, the entire cultural, you're looking at a shift of thinking. You're looking at a shift of thinking. Let's talk about what the two different men were preaching. Let's just say that. We're not even going to talk about Biggie, because Biggie was great for lyrics, his music, and pretty much that was it. People loved Biggie because Biggie, because he was nice on the mic. Biggie was not preaching a lot of self-awareness, a lot of woke, nothing. I'm sure he would have got to that at some point, but at that point, he wasn't there yet. So we had to figure out, where we was going with Biggie as far as what he was going to do. You knew where Pac was going. Pac was unity. Pac was, do for self, revolutionary in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, he tripped himself up with that thug life. He was like, if I got to speak to them in their language for them to get respect. But a lot of people really believed and went, 100% with the thug life image of it. And if you really do the research on Pac, that was one part of him. That was almost let me use this as a tool to get to the people. And then the next step is going to be bringing them in on another level. He didn't have a chance to bring them in or to get to the next level. And it's some has to do with him himself. Some of that is his own fault. Let's be clear. Pac should not have been kicking anyone in no Las Vegas 5-star hotel. You shouldn't be kicking anyone. You shouldn't be fighting anyone. It is what it is. It is what it is. Pac was way too big for that. Pac shouldn't even have been there. So it's a self-destructive It's a self-destructive behavior that put those things in motion, and this is where we at with Pac. So I'm saying that to say this. I don't know of any organization started by Tupac before he passed. There could be some, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I don't know the effect, the real lasting impact that at the time of death that Tupac died, that he on the black community, not rap. I'm not talking about rap. I'm talking about as a whole, because you don't just rap all day. Rap is a part of you. But you still got to work. You got to feed your kids. You got to pay attention to your wife. You got to go see your mom. Rap is part of that. It ain't your entire life. So if we're going to study a man's worth of his life, Pac he made great songs, and he made a lot of people think. But Nipsey was changing entire wavelengths. He's changing thinking to the point you got people that didn't even know what to do with their money. You got drug dealers, now they're talking about buying property. Literally, and this is a fact, a drug dealer didn't know what to do with his money. Drug dealers back in the day had trash bags full of money, didn't know what to do with it. Fact. Garbage bags full of money. I seen it. They would have so much money they can't fit it in the closet no more. Garbage bags. Some of them had a whole bedroom just with garbage bags of money because they didn't know what to do with it. You can only trick off but so much money in a day. You can only buy but so many cars and jewelry. You can only go to but so many strip clubs. That money comes in fast. So you stack it. You can only launder but so much at a time. So you have it sitting there doing nothing. This guy was about to show you how to move that money and make it legit, how to do it for the seeds coming up, and how to make them understand they don't have to touch a drug at all. He was giving out jobs. This dude was giving out game without even trying to hit you over the head with it. This dude got so much love because he gave it out. He didn't give it out and tell you, look, sure, I'm giving you love right now. Respect it. He just did it. You know what I'm saying? He just did it. Even his hardest videos was not based on, trying to make you feel like he was this tough, rough, tough gangster. He was just a dude in the hood that did hood stuff. And hood stuff sometimes call for you to be tough. But this dude was a real man. It wasn't no pumped up, overly dramatic, hyper, gangsterized stuff that this guy was doing. It was just talking to real stuff. And it wasn't thug life across the belly and all. It wasn't over the top. You know what I'm saying? So when he passed, it wasn't a divide of half the people blaming him for his own death like it was with Pac. It wasn't the same type of thing with half the people saying they shouldn't even have been doing that. Like, why is he doing? That's crazy. Now, yes, you can say, why was he there with no protection? Why is it 7, 8 guys standing around, none of them have weapons? You could say that, all that stuff, but he didn't provoke this guy. He told this guy what it was. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Your rep ain't good. I can't do nothing for you. Which, be honest, in my personal opinion, this is just me. At that point, when you saw him walk off, y'all should have been all hands on deck, in my opinion. Because he mad, he walking off. We gotta watch this dude. Matter of fact, walk with him. Somebody go with him. We gotta pay attention. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. That's just how I am. But he felt another way. He was comfortable. He felt like nothing was gonna happen to him, and it did. No, we're not going into no government, none of it, because government don't need to send this half-ass dude over there. You know what I'm saying? They could have killed this guy, made it look like a heart attack. So they don't need to send him. So we're not even going to say that. But End of the day, when Pac passed, it was horrifying. We all felt it. We were sad. We were like, oh man. We couldn't understand it. We couldn't believe him. Big died. We knew something was up. We was like, damn, he shouldn't have went over there, blah, blah. But we felt it. We was hurt. This guy passed, bro. When this guy passed and you started to hear what this guy was really about. It wasn't about beefing. It wasn't about throwing up the West Side. It wasn't none of that. This guy was bringing together two different sides, bro. This guy was bringing together two. He wasn't stirring them up. He was teaching them something. And that's why they comparing him to Jesus. And people laugh at that. And I'm like, yo, why is it so far-fetched? When Jesus, if you was around at the time of Jesus, you wouldn't have thought he was that great. You would have been like, oh, it's a guy over there preaching. Now it's years later, and now it's like, oh my, you can't compare this guy to anyone. Because it was Jesus. But Jesus was getting with criminals, prostitutes, thieves. He was showing them, they was his disciples. When everyone else was discrediting these people and moving away from them, he was moving toward them. And that's what this guy was doing. No one's saying he is Jesus, but they're comparing his actions to it. Because a rich rapper is the last person who's going to be out here trying to help someone. Facts. I'm talking about not your boy or your man or your mom or your boyfriend, your mom boyfriend. I'm not talking about your inner circle. You understand? I'm talking about you're trying to build the entire race up the best way you can. You're starting in freaking your city of all places. You're teaching better eating. You're about to do a documentary on Dr. Sebi, bro. Way left field. These rappers' minds are small compared to what this guy was doing. Rappers don't even talk about eating. When the last time you heard a rapper rap about eating? Or even mention it in his interview? They don't even talk about it. You got maybe a handful of dudes and they old heads. These young guys are talking about pouring as much lean in their body as they can possibly get. And as much smoke as they can get. You don't even know what if these dudes eating at all. I read a story that Young Thug eats gummy bears all day. You know what I'm saying? I read a story that Young Thug eats gummy bears all day. And that's his whole food. I don't know what they eat, bro. Nipsey Hussle was about to teach you how to eat, how to put your money invested in your hood. I never even thought you could buy a building in the hood. Facts. I didn't think we could own a store. I didn't think that. I know now. I mean, I knew before Nipsey, but a lot of people did it. And it's still not easy, but it's possible. So when this guy dies, right? Not no dude it's not about the raps. The raps was secondary. Like, they still playing Biggie's raps to this day. Biggie raps still rocking. Pac's music is incredible. I know more. Pac probably had more songs on one album than Nipsey. More hit records. He probably got more hit records on All Eyes on Me or Machiavelli. He probably got more hit records on Machiavelli than Nipsey's entire career. And if not one album, two albums, he got Nipsey's whole career. But it ain't about that. It's not about that. This man died. You saw the entire world. This dude was on TV about 2 weeks straight. Mainstream media, not no little BET stuff. This dude was on the Today Show. This dude was on Nightly News, Good Morning America. They were talking about this dude on Fox, MSNBC. Not for his raps, bro. There's some next level stuff we dealing with. This guy was about to really be Bill Gates. Facts. But not in that vein. He was about to be Bill Gates with the heart of Gandhi, bro. And this guy was going to do more for this community than Biggie, Pac, Jam Master Jay, all them combined. Because he had their spirit in him. He saw how they went out, and he didn't want no one to go out like that. And they went out like that because that's what the hood is teaching you. It's teaching you to be like that. It's teaching you to spend your money on gold chains and cars. It's not teaching you to be smart with it. So when I'm asking the question, was Nipsey's death worse than Biggie and Tupac? Yes, in the long run. Not because we love them less now because he died, or we love him more, but his death was so much more important to us as a culture. This guy was changing culture. This guy was changing attitude and perception. So in hindsight, I'm going to go with Nipsey's death is the worst death in hip-hop. And that's just my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I appreciate y'all listening and watching. Thank y'all for coming through, hitting the like button and all that good stuff like that there. Subscribe. Don't subscribe. Do whatever you want to do. I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.